Hello and welcome to the Ratio Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Ray, and as always, we are coming to you from beautiful Athens, Georgia. Tonight on the show, we've got Dave Gerow of the Arcs, who will be here discussing their new album, Athens Ave, out now on Arfus Records. Make sure you pick it up. It's a killer record. But it's been a minute, but I want to thank everyone for all the downloads and the support while we've been taking kind of a summer break. We put an episode out each month, but we're looking at a much more busy fall and winter, and I appreciate all of your support. So without further ado, let's get to Dave Gerow of the Arcs. All right, everybody. Today on the Ratio Podcast, we have Mr. Dave Gerow of the mighty Arcs. They're just called the Arcs. I called them mighty. They are mighty. So, hello, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Well, very good. Now, we've been trying to do this for a little while.
It's been a minute trying to get it together, yeah.
But getting two wild men like us together.
It's hard to pin guys like us down.
It's hard to do it, man.
No doubt.
So, everybody. Dave has kindly come on to the Ratio Podcast to discuss the new Arcs release, Athens Ave. And there's a rich history involving many bands that led to the Arcs forming. Could you give us, Dave, kind of a Cliff Notes version of how the Arcs came to be?
So I guess we include members of bands like Ben and I were both in a band called Ceiling Fan. Kevin was in The Possibilities. Brandon was in a number of acts, one Timber, and he was also kind of a utility guy for Bill Maloney and the Vigilantes of Love for a bit. Excuse me. And then I guess it was about in 2005, Ceiling Fan, the band that Ben Spraker and I, the guitar player, singer guy for the Arcs, our bass player moved up to Ohio, and so we kind of had nothing going on, and wanted to get together with Kevin because we've known Kevin for ages. And Ben, I met when I was 6 years old.
Wow,
7.
I didn't know y'all went back that far.
Yeah, we both grew up in Roanoke, Virginia, and played on the same t-ball team, and that's where I met him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We Ceiling Fan ended in 2005. Possibilities ended around that time. I'm not sure about exactly when they broke up. But been talking about trying to get together with Kevin Lane, and then Brandon sort of worked his way in, and we got it was interesting how he played that. But yeah, we got together and it worked, and we liked hanging out and were playing well together. So we decided, let's go.
Right on.
I never met Brandon before the day that we played together. So.
Well, I know some of those bands, and I've heard some of the stuff that's on YouTube and everything that I've been directed to. The one thing I'll say about the Arcs, it's always struck me, and I'll get into how amazing all of you guys are individually, but there, dare I say, a positive vibe in the best way possible with your music and your band. So, how hard is it writing songs and in that vibe and headspace during such dark times that we're going through right now?
Well, Ben and Kevin do pretty much all the songwriting. Brandon and I are involved in, arranging. We'll contribute lyrically. We'll, if we have an idea, we certainly will get involved. But that's the songs themselves are basically, Kevin and Ben. But I think as far as ending up with the general idea of positivity, which I think is cool. Thank you. It's probably to try and not be wrapped up in all the awful that's going on.
Right.
And there's just so much of it. So it's nice to have that to turn to, something positive, something that, at least makes us smile.
Yeah, yeah. And when I say that, it's a very rare, I'm talking about I would put you guys up there with a band like Big Star or a modern band.
Thanks,
Dennis
Johnny,
from Refused and Brian from Bad Religion's band, Fake Names. That they have this positive vibe, but doesn't come off like we're, out tiptoeing through the garden. It's got a real gives just this breath of fresh air when you hear it, like you guys. And
thank you.
And well, let's get more into the record, and this album's called Athens Avenue, and where'd you guys record this?
Excuse me. Sorry, I keep doing that. We did it all at home. Kevin Lane has a studio at his house.
Yeah.
He's had one. He lived in one place that had one kind of built out when they bought the place. And then they moved to another place, and then he's, kind of put together one there as well. And then Ben actually bought Kevin's old house, so he had access to the old studio. So Kevin lived there, and we start at where Ben lives now. We started tracking there, and then in Kevin's new place, we finished it. That's part of what made it take as long as it did, but well worth it in our estimation.
And Kevin produced it?
Kevin and Ben together. It was, I guess Ben deserves a lot of credit for, recording and stuff too. He would track a lot of his things at home and then, share them with Kevin when Kevin would do the mixing, and we were involved in production, but a lot of that was Ben and Kevin as well.
Right. So you just bring the vibe, man, the drumming.
Yeah, man, just bringing the vibes.
Well, this is coming out on Arfus Records. How has it been working with them and working with Andy Steck?
He's great. He's been real supportive and positive and taking care of stuff that's really tough for us to be able to kind of deal with. He's got some experience with it, and so we're looking forward to seeing what we can get away with this one.
Well, yeah, I love how the record begins with "Meet Me in the Back of Your Mind." There's so much going on in that song. Especially if you're a headphone listener, you really gotta delve in on that one. And I think it reflects the complexity and the beauty of the Arcs. How have these songs been to play live?
Well, we didn't really play live for a good long while, and we had our release show for the album at the Nowhere Bar just this past Saturday, and it was a fantastic night, to really put it mildly. Felt like we really played well, and there's definitely a huge difference between listening to the songs on the headphones for a long while, especially in the finished. We've had the tracks done for a while, and we had the vinyl. We wanted to make sure that all that was done well before we were trying to release. We didn't want to show up and not have, we booked the show too early,
right?
Kind of thing. And so playing them is definitely a different experience, but it was great. It was awesome. It was always, playing music with those guys has always been great, and this one seemed to me to be one of the best ones so far.
Well, and it was a great bill too. You had She He and Jay Gonzalez.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I was standing there watching both of those bands play, thinking, "Wow, we set this up. We get to follow them." And I feel like even though our styles, especially following She He, who are so punk rock and distorted and high energy and all that, and we tend to ebb and flow a little bit more in style, and to be able to feel like we were able to follow a band like that, because it's easy to kind of have that, I guess, a decrescendo after the middle band just destroys the place, and then you show up and it's just kind of not as good in comparison, and there's always that risk.
I think you complement each other well in that. And I think beautiful. I think you're just as ferocious as them, just in a different way.
Thank you. Wow.
But and you've got so many secret weapons. Kevin's so amazing. You've got Ben's vocals and his guitar playing, and then your badassery, and then you guys let Brandon, kind of tag along. I'm teasing. I love Brandon.
That's not true at all.
Super talented, super great dude. Love that guy to death. But the album's called Athens Avenue. Do you have any Athens Avenue stories that we can tell here on the broadcast?
Well, to be honest, that was more of the artwork was more of a kind of a declaration of which band we were. And so we've had many friends who have lived over there. And the stories with those friends would probably not be ones that we could be talking about here.
Right on, right on.
I mean, nothing too crazy, but yeah. I never personally lived on that street. It was a photo opportunity that represented kind of what I was hoping for visually.
Yeah.
We wanted to make clear which band it was. And Athens is a different place than when we moved here. And so it's part of town that hasn't really changed all that much since we've moved here. And so it kind of seemed like kind of a way for us to connect with the Athens thing that kind of brought us all here in the first place.
Yeah, yeah.
Corny as that may sound.
What year did you get here?
I moved here in 1993.
Yeah, yeah. So I remember I could drive down here then and go to things.
Yeah.
It's like a different world from then and now.
It really is. It really is. And it might be better. If I was 22 downtown and this is what I knew, I would argue that it's the best time in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot different.
Well, let's talk about this then a little bit. How would you, and I mean, you can use this the best of years or whatever year you think that sums it up the best. How would you describe Athens, the town, not the street,
Right.
to someone who doesn't live here?
Now?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I moved out of Athens in 2020, and I haven't spent a whole lot of time downtown, especially at night. I'll be there, certainly a little bit during the day.
Right.
I would say that, I think the things that I love about Athens still exist. The art school's still there. There's going to be people making weird art and trying to do weird stuff, and then they'll pick up a guitar, or maybe the other way around. I think that's always going to be there. I think it's harder for those kinds of acts to find a place downtown. So I'd say it's harder to locate the things that I like than it used to be. So you have to work a little bit harder, but it's still there.
Oh, I agree. And when you find it, it's worth the hunt.
I agree. And yeah, so I know it's still there. I'm a little out of the loop on things, but.
Well, so I guess touring plans are out of the question.
I guess it depends on how you define touring. I don't know that we're going to be doing any 3-4 week runs anywhere. The idea of trying to play some out of town and, kind of build up our ability to do that, at least, regionally and nationally if possible. I mean, certainly we wouldn't turn down any offers, not just out of hand anyway. But, we're hoping to, maybe get up to Nashville, hopefully, maybe to New York City. It's not as easy to get on the road, certainly being, I'm married with 2 kids. Kevin's married with 2 kids. Ben's married. Brandon's got all kinds of things going on. And so it's not the easiest thing to tour, but then you've also got, $5 gallon of gas.
Yeah.
And so the idea of going to New York is not just like, we can hop in the car and just do it. You have to think it through a little bit more. So hopefully we can still make it happen, but.
Yeah, I'd love to see you guys on like a big festival bill or something like that.
That would be a lot of fun. I would love to do that.
Yeah. We're going to make that happen, man. So.
I'm in. Yeah.
Well, last question, and you've been so kind to come on, and do you have a favorite Brandon Reynolds story?
A favorite Brandon Reynolds story
that's happened that you've seen him, right in front of you.
Honestly, the best memories and the most memories I have of Brandon are at practice or during a performance. I can tell you a pretty funny story about him, though, that you may not know.
Oh my God, please.
Okay. Well, the way he got in the band is pretty funny. Like, as I mentioned earlier, Ben and I had been, playing music together for ages. We've known each other forever. Our first band, we were 16. I was 16. He was 17. And so when the Ceiling Fan band broke up, we had been playing, and that had been since 1996 is when that band first started. So, like almost 10 years. And so there wasn't any doubt in my mind that we were going to continue to play together. It was just a matter of what the iteration was. And so the first thought was, we'll get Kevin Lane to play bass. We'll be a three-piece, and it'll be awesome. Kevin didn't really want to play bass. He wanted to play guitar and write songs again. He had been playing kind of as a utility dude in a lot of bands, but he wanted to get back into being in a band and writing songs. And so he wanted to play guitar. And I was like, well, by all means, we'll just find a bass player. And so we were thinking folks like, Chuck Bradburn was, the first guy I thought of. He was playing with, well, he's always playing with lots of folks, but thought he might be able to work us in. And then one day I'm talking to Ben, and he says, yeah, this guy Brandon is going to come. We finally lined it up. We're going to practice one afternoon. This guy Brandon's going to come. Who's Brandon? I'd never met him. Well, no, that's actually not true. I'd served him when I was a bartender, but I didn't really know him, whatever. And so, like, well, who is this guy? And like, no, he's cool. He's good. Like, oh, okay, all right, fine. We go and we play, and everybody's getting along. We're having a great time and everything. And it's the first time we gotten together, first time we met him. And he's like, hey, man, so what are we going to name the band? What should we talk about that? I was like, wow, name the band. Like, are we even a band? All that kind of conversations that hadn't happened, all that sort of stuff. And what ends up, obviously, it's a couple of years later, ends up working out, obviously. A couple of years later, I come to find out that he approached Ben and said, hey, hey, Ben, Kevin said it'd be cool if I came and jammed with you guys. I heard y'all were going to play with, and Ben was like, okay, well, if Kevin said so, that's cool. And then walked over to Kevin. They were at the Caledonia one night, apparently, if I remember correctly, like in the same room. And Brandon walks over to Kevin. He's like, hey, Ben just said it's cool if I come and play with you guys on Saturday. Is that cool with you? And he's like, oh yeah, if Ben says it's okay, yeah, that's fine. So he kind of worked his way into the band. But I got to be honest, like it's a funny story to me. But I really think that his style, I don't know, like we could have had somebody who, like my idea was somebody who kind of Duff McKagan or something that kind of drove with a pick all the time kind of thing. And his style is a lot more subdued than that. And I think that's something that makes a big difference in the music, because you get the wrong approach on that, then it doesn't hit the same way. So
right.
So yeah.
Well, hey man, where can people get this record? What's the best place for people to acquire this to help you guys?
Well, if you're looking for vinyl, those are available at arfusrecords.com. There's also CDs at arfusrecords.com. I believe they're doing digital as well. You can go to our Bandcamp page. We have the digital version there. Working on stores. I believe it's in Walk Street and Low Yo-Yo right now. At least the records are. I'm not sure about CDs. But they could be. Who knows? And let's see. I guess those are the places where we actually would stand to see a buck or two out of it. So
yeah. Well, I can't tell you how much I love this record all the way through. I think it's a full album.
Thank you.
And people just aren't making those anymore. But
it really is a kind of a bygone art, it seems like.
And it's a shame.
It is.
But maybe you guys can lead the new revolution and
maybe so.
Knock down the doors.
Maybe so. I like that attitude.
Well, Dave, thanks so much for coming on the Ratio Podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Johnny Ray. This has been fun.
All right. I want to thank Dave Gerow for coming on the Ratio Podcast. Make sure you go out and get Athens Avenue, out now on Arfus Records. And Andy Steck, who runs Arfus Records, is a super good dude. So make sure you support all the releases on his wonderful label, including Johan Greco, who will be a future guest on the Ratio Podcast. Sorry, y'all. So stay switched on, and we'll talk to you soon.